Chadwell, and I also have two co-hosts. Sitting with me is Chris Dawkins, and we also have Caleb Alexander. So usually you'll see us all on the same couch, but Caleb is out of town doing his husband duties, waiting for his wife to come out of a conference. So anyway, we have actually four hot topics we want to talk about. The first one is what's happening in Georgia, where that judge blocked the election board's decision to hand count votes. So we got a situation where Georgia was trying to suppress the votes. So thoughts, Chris?
There's going to be a lot of shenanigans going on. So they just started a little early.
It's already trying to start confusion. So I got my eye on Texas because I know Paxson and Patrick are trying to start some stuff also. But yeah, so I recommend to everybody, I don't care what state you're in, make sure that if you do plan on voting, to make sure you go online to see if your name is showing up in the database to vote. The next hot topic.
Well, Doc, let me touch a little bit on Georgia too.
Okay.
So no, I mean it was. It's coming down now to where we are once again depending on Georgia. I mean judges to hold the line, and so these people have taken over these election boards. They spent the last 4 years taking over election boards and putting the right people in place, so that this time the people who held the line last time won't be there. And so now it's going to be MAGA people who are calling the shots, who are trying to sow the seeds of doubt in the election. And so once again, we're down to the judges to hold the line on democracy, and that's scary. It is scary. So they're definitely setting us up by sowing the seeds of doubt.
Since we're talking about voting, the popular vote versus the electoral college, should the electoral college be banned?
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's an anachronism. So yeah, I definitely think it should be whoever wins the most votes wins the election. I think they need to get rid of it.
Yeah, the way it's set up now, the electoral college is just another mastermind to suppress voters' rights. I believe that it should be a popular vote, and I know that Walz, during one of his campaign swings, he did mention the elimination of the electoral college. So it's going to be really interesting in this current election to where I believe that Kamala is going to win the popular vote, but will the electoral college allow her to gain the votes needed to become president?
Yeah. I mean, if this system was in any other place, in any other country, the U.S. would be screaming how undemocratic it was.
Right.
And so that's the irony. But no, I think this election, honestly, it's going to come down to probably the largest voting demographic in truth are white women. And this election is going to come down to, again, to that choice. When Hillary ran, it came down to, were they going to choose their own self-interest? Were they going to choose to advance the cause of women? Were they going to choose their daughters? They chose white male patriarchy, and they voted with their husbands, they voted with their fathers, and they voted to remain under the protection of white male patriarchy because they know they're going to be okay. And so that was their voice. And so you hear white women saying, this is our chance to correct that. Everyone blames us for Trump. And so the question is, are they going to walk into that booth? Are they going to this time choose themselves, choose their daughter, choose their own reproductive rights? You hear the horror stories of women who are literally dying because they can't get access to healthcare You hear the story, where the laws are so severe and restrictive. Even in the case of rape or incest, their daughters won't be able to get medical care. And so, are they going to choose their daughters, or are they going to continue to choose to live under a system of white male patriarchy?
I agree. I agree. I have a niece, and she's of age. If it happened to have a child, will her pregnancy be healthy? Will she get the services that she needs? And she will. Her parents will make sure. But there's others in her age group. They may not have access to the services that they need. They're even talking about and questioning young ladies, groups of young ladies crossing state lines to get medical services. And so what are you going to do? Going to put them in jail? I know that 45 said a young Black woman who died basically in the parking lot because she couldn't get access to medical services. He said, well, she didn't die. And it's kind of like, wow.
Well, she just went to sleep.
He probably thought so.
Yeah.
But this is, we sit here and chuckle, but these are our relatives. These are our friends. These are our wives. These are our daughters. And if they get pregnant and the pregnancy goes awry, what next? What next? What next?
Yeah.
So there's
and I mean, definitely, even this is an issue that Black men can't say this is a woman's issue. You know what I mean? We can't. Men in general can't say this is a woman's issue. This is an issue for all of us that we all need to really get involved in and consider when we walk into that voting booth, because these are our wives, these are our daughters, and so the things happen with pregnancies, and so my daughter not being able to choose, to save herself, even and it's not just about saving herself, but sometimes the pregnancy isn't sustainable. And so do you lose the person who's pregnant as well as the baby or the fetus? You know what I mean? And so it's just it's insane. You know what I mean? The restrictions that they've put in place. The idea of monitoring young girls' cycles and monitoring their pregnancies. The idea of criminally charging doctors. And when I was growing up, Planned Parenthood wasn't just about women. Planned Parenthood passed out condoms for young boys. And so that's what we got protected. And so if you're really interested in stopping or minimizing abortions, then you allow Planned Parenthood, which is in their very title, Planned Parenthood, to function, because they're the ones who stop unwanted pregnancies. They assist with education, information, protection, in helping young women to decide the best forms of contraception for them.
Dr. Sharon sent me a video, which I thought was very interesting, where it said that the older evangelical Christians, even though they didn't support abortion, they were never against it. And this new group that's coming along with the MAGA and the far right wing evangelistic people, Christians, they are the ones who want this to be the way that it is. They are the ones who put Trump up to putting those people on the Supreme Court to be able to do what they actually did. So I think we've got to look at who we're really against. We're not against the women, as you said, Caleb. We're not against our daughters. We're not against our wives. We're not against any of those things. And you may not even be for abortion, but you've got to be for the right to allow them to choose.
And I'll share
Right.
this story with you without giving names. A young lady found out she was pregnant, and it was someone known, close to the family. And the baby died, was dead in her. And she had to wait until the body naturally expelled the baby. And so if you think about the psychological implications of
Mm-hmm.
carrying a dead baby inside of
Mm-hmm.
you and then going through, I know you guys will understand it, but unless you've watched it, but going through the process of delivering a dead child, and then you're seeing this dead child, and then post hospital,
Mm-hmm.
how much damage has been caused on that already? So
Right.
you vote how you vote, but the implications are far wider than we can ever expect it. And I'm hearing that this anti-abortion sentiment is also starting to be resurrected in some far right governments across the world. And I read and saw an article down in Africa where this doctor, he's an OBGYN, but he specializes in, let me see how the Instagram tell me, repairing women who were victims of gang rape.
Mm.
So this is a discussion that goes beyond local borders, beyond national borders, into a global issue. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying have an abortion to have an abortion, but there is
Right.
so much more than what can be said. And then if you really think about it, if the MAGA getting control over our decisions that happen between, I'm going to say, me and a doctor, for example, and I'm a woman, what are you going to say about the decisions men can make?
Yeah. And my other point to this is they love the baby when it's in the womb, but as soon as it's born, they don't want to give it a free school lunch.
Exactly.
They don't want to give it housing. You don't want to give it childcare. You don't want to help the parents, sustain the parents by other social programs, housing, welfare, food stamps, nothing. You don't want to feed the baby. So you love the baby while it's in the womb, but as soon as it comes out, you brand.
That's
A
your
lot of times you
problem.
want to brand it a deadbeat and a criminal, and you don't want to help the parents support the baby that you made them carry. So
Amen.
that's my point to MAGA folks. So
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 I'm going to change the subject. And Caleb, we're going to go back to you. Explain
mhm.
this Power 300 in Africa.
Power 300. All right. So no. So what it is that Power 300 is it's an initiative uh, between several entities. So World Bank is involved, African Development Bank. So basically, right now there are 600 million folks in Africa that don't have reliable electricity. What Power 300 is going to do is going to have that number. So it's going to bring clean, reliable uh, sustained energy to 300 million folks in sub-Saharan Africa. Uh,
Woo!
it's a game changer. It's a game changer. And here's the big kicker. The funding, a lot of the funding is already in place. World Bank is kicking in 25 million. African Development Bank is kicking in 5 million. The rest of it is coming from various other NGOs and governments and stuff like that. So the funding is 90 total. They're asking a total of 90 billion in funding. So, like I said, a lot of funding is already in place. The big thing about this is that it's going to be accomplished by 2030. So basically, within the next 5 years, they're going to bring electricity to 300 million people. And again, that's just from the Power 300 initiative. So this doesn't count the electrification programs that are being done by the individual countries, and it doesn't count the electrification programs that are being implemented by China. And so you have probably within the next 5 years, it's going to be a number that's going to be much, much larger than 300 million folks. So you're looking at maybe 4 to 500 million people that are going to have clean, reliable, sustainable energy. It's transformative because now you have the energy to build those manufacturing plants. You have the energy to power those businesses. You have the energy to do so many things. And so it's going to be a really an economic game changer. So, but I want to just mention this though in this context. So, China has moved away from partly away from grand infrastructure projects to what Xi Jinping calls 1,000 smaller, beautiful projects. So what they're doing is they're under this new program is they're providing energy, and that's how it ties in. They're providing small microgrids, a lot of solar energy projects, which is really being transformative. And so I'll give you an example, like in the capital of Ethiopia, Addis Ababa. That capital, it's lit up like Paris now. It's completely transformative, and it's had such an impact. People are now able to go outside at nighttime. It's safe. The streets are safe. Businesses stay open later, so it's a real economic impact. And so, again, just from that example, you can see how transformative this initiative is to bring so much power and energy to such a large population.
Okay. And then finally, a couple weeks back, I read where the DOJ has reopened the 1921 Tulsa riot massacre, Tulsa massacre, excuse me. And so a lot of the survivors are dying off. And I couldn't understand what the DOJ was trying to gain at this point. You know, either are you going to give these folks make it to where you have to give these people reparations? Why are they reopening something where the state has said no, 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 no? What do you do? Right. Who you going? You getting ready to put some folks in jail? What are they looking for?
I think what they're looking for is to be able to help the Biden-Harris administration. This doesn't go forward if Trump wins the election in November. So nothing's going to happen right now. And I don't know if what they're doing is a national issue or whether, and I think they do have the ability to be able to say to the state, you must do this. But regardless, none of that happens unless Harris becomes president. Mm-hmm. So right now it's just talk. I don't think anything, it goes forward or any place further. This is like one of those black issues that we, kind of just threw to you. I don't see anything more of it.
Yeah, and I agree with what you're saying. And I agree with your question, Doc. So, like, what's it for? You can't. The people who committed the atrocities are dead. The people the majority of the people who suffer from those atrocities are gone. And so, what do you do? How do you calculate the damage? How do you calculate the financial loss? The records are destroyed. So, how do you even provide compensation to the descendants when all the records were lost? And the records that weren't lost initially were later destroyed. They hid everything. They buried everything. So they buried the bodies. We're still looking for bodies, from the massacre. And so I don't understand the purpose besides to throw black folks a bone.
Well, Caleb.
And here I was just about to say I'm with my brother Chris. We don't need bones. You know what I mean?
Right. I don't know that it's about compensation. Mm-hmm. America has never said slavery was bad or we're sorry. That's never happened. So I think, first of all, the first step that goes a long way is just to say we deserve reparations for what happened. I think that's the first step. And then the courts or a committee or whatever can decide what the compensation should be. But before we even get to that point, somebody has to admit that there was something wrong done. And nobody's
Right.
willing to admit that.
No,
Yeah.
this country will never admit it.
So it looks like we're running out of time, but we want to thank everybody for listening in on our discussion on 4 hot topics in our country. And as we say before, we ask that you hit the like button, the subscribe button, share the video with your friends. And as we say on the end of our shows, this is Contemporary Black Voices telling our stories our way.
All right.